Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a wonderful week so far. In this class, everyone, we are looking at IELTS reading. We are looking to comprehend and respond and get a band 9. This is a members chat class. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. We will have an all chat class coming up in about 90 minutes that will be listening part 1 and 2. To become a member of our channel, just click the join button next to the subscribe button. Welcome Mohit. Welcome our moderator Carolina. Good to have you all in this class. This class is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit us there for the general IELTS. Check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we have lots and lots of reading materials for the reading section, as well as for the other parts of the exam. This is our academic IELTS website here. Simply click this join button, the big red button. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's well worth it. The general IELTS web portal looks like this at gieltshelp.com. Again, click that big red button. And this Sunday, we will have a new video series coming to our channel in HD, which will be my IELTS Band 9 journey. That's right. A few months ago, I sat the official IELTS exam in Hungary, in Budapest, and we filmed the registration, the preparation, IELTS exam day, the marks, and I'm going to share that experience with you. So that will be premiering this Sunday at 14 o'clock Universal Standard Time. So check that out. You can see the premiere being scheduled on our channel, so make sure you're present for that. And if you have any questions, students, then you can always send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I'll respond to you as quickly as possible. Welcome, Bakrat. Hi, Rashika. Okay, everyone, let's get into today's reading passage. So this reading passage is coming from our newest exams that are still kind of in production, and they will be released a little bit later this year. So it's exciting, it's fun, it's new. It's reading passage 1, and it starts with list of headings. List of headings. A lot of students find it challenging, but it's not the end of the world. There are some very good strategies to figure out list of headings questions and get the correct answers, and I will teach you those strategies today. Don't read the list of headings before you read the title. You should always read the title. Okay, and here we have the title of the passage for today. So let's read this. This is a reading class, so let's read together, okay? Whenever you have the chance, students, when you're learning a language, it's always a good idea, and even in your own native language, it's always a good idea to do a bit of reading aloud so you can hear yourself. So if you have the chance to read aloud, it's a good idea. Okay, so here, the title is Currency Substitution, and this picture is helping you visualize this topic as well. We have a banknote, and right away we notice something very interesting about this banknote. What is interesting about this banknote? So what's very observable? And when you're looking at this title, and you're looking at this banknote and you're visualizing, you're seeing this information, you should immediately start thinking critically about this passage. So what is it? Why is it? How is it? Okay. So currency substitution, what do you notice? What's interesting about this banknote? Anybody? There's something that definitely jumps out at me that's like, whoa, what is that? Sammy says the country, the currency, and the amount. So the country is Zimbabwe. Yeah. The currency is dollars, so it's Zimbabwean dollars here. And the amount is astronomical. Okay, this is where you want to use the word astronomical. Okay, it's a banknote with a $1 trillion denomination. That's just unreal, right? So, or sorry, $100 trillion. That's right, not even 1 trillion, $100 trillion. So, okay, fine. So we see that there's something very odd here. So now we want to think about, well, what is this passage going to be about? And Carolina says, well, maybe something about inflation. Okay. Yeah, inflation means that the value of money is so decreased that we have these astronomical denominations for currency because the money has just such low value. Okay. And why do you think that is? Okay, so here we're thinking critically, and a little bit of thinking goes a long way. So definitely for this reading passage, if you do a bit of prediction and inferencing, it will really help you to understand the passage much, much better. So we ask ourselves, what is this passage about? And we can tell that it's about currency, value of money, inflation. Okay, and also think about the title. So devaluation of money and currency substitution. What do you think the author means by currency substitution? Okay, Bakrat says maybe the replacement of money. Very good. Be confident, Bakrat. You have a good idea there. So yeah. And why? So, what do you think? Why does this happen? So, why does a society or a country suddenly devalue its money? So, why is it suddenly not worth very much? And why might they be thinking about replacing it with something else, okay, or some other currency? So, why would that happen? All right, very important to think about the why here. So why does it happen? Why does $1 suddenly become worthless, and why does it suddenly become $100? Baccarat says maybe by dictatorship. Yeah, but you have to think about what gives money its value. Okay, so Mohit says corruption rate, economic conditions. What actually gives modern currency its value? You have to think about this. Okay, so why is $100 US worth $100 US? So what gives money its value? That's what you have to think about. Sammy says gold. No, Sammy, we don't have the gold standard anymore. We have a different system now. It's the fiat system, so gold does not give the money its value. Deepika says GDP. Yeah, that partly has to do with it, Deepika, so the gross domestic product. Paulo says whatever backs the currency, for example, gold. Yeah, that's also true, Paulo, but there's still one more level greater. What do you think is giving cryptocurrency its value? There's nothing really backing cryptocurrency, yet it still has a great amount of value. One Bitcoin is again worth 48,000 US dollars. People think it's going away, but obviously it's not. It keeps coming back. So there's one very important element that gives money its value. It's the belief in the value of the currency. Yeah, so it's kind of a surprise to everyone, and this is what it is, and we should all know this, so this should be intrinsic to us. In the fiat system, people lose faith or belief in the value of the currency. That currency becomes less valuable. If you gain belief in that value, then or that currency, then it will gain value. So a lot of people today have a lot of faith and a lot of belief in cryptocurrency because they feel that it can be managed better. So it's non-transferable. It can't be copied. So it's basically a much safer form of money management. So a lot of people have a lot of faith in it. And because of that, cryptocurrency has a lot of value. The American dollar people are worried about these days, oftentimes, so it's losing value. Okay. And Carolina, it is absolutely subjective. So people's faith or belief in the value of a certain currency can be very subjective, right? And of course, this is influenced by how much money we print and what it's backed by. So if we're printing trillions of dollars, but there's no backing to it, there's no product or service, then we start to lose faith in that currency. Okay? That's what leads to inflation, and that's how it happens, right? So how does this happen? Well, the money is mismanaged through corruption, overprinting, and so forth, right? So that's how it happens. Okay, great. So ideally, when you read a topic like money substitution, then you come up with these ideas, okay? So in a perfect world, when you get to your reading section and you read currency substitution, and then you see a bill like this with 100 trillion Zimbabwean dollars, you should be thinking inflation, you should be thinking currency, you should be thinking fiat. This is academic IELTS, but you could see a passage like this in section 3 of the general IELTS. And yes, indeed, IELTS is a thinking exam. So what is the passage about? It's about currency, the value of money, inflation, and of course, substitution, meaning the replacement of money, potentially by gold, right? So some people are saying, let's go back to gold. A lot of people are saying, well, but there's not enough gold for 8 billion people, so we have to use something different, and that's why cryptocurrency is becoming so popular. So why does this happen? People lose faith or belief in the value of currency. And how does that happen? Well, money is mismanaged by corruption, overprinting, and so forth. So people look for other forms of currency, often dominant forms. So if you're going for that band 9, you should be thinking, okay, well, it's usually, what is the replacement? It's usually the dominant form of currency. And in the world today, that's still usually the US dollar. In some cases, it's the euro. So a dominant form of currency that many people have belief in. Okay, fine. So if you didn't get all this, it's not the end of the world. Your next step is to look at the questions and read them. Okay? Now, list of headings has some extra and false information because not all of these headings will be used in your answers. Okay, so list of headings is kind of interesting. It's unique. It's the only question set that you have before the passage. So you should read it before the passage. Okay. And while you read it, you should be paraphrasing. So you should think of different ways to state these headings, because in the passage, it's very likely that you're not going to see this exact wording. Okay, the IELTS examiners aren't dumb. They know that if students are just skimming and scanning and matching words, then anybody with a low level of English will get an okay mark, and that's not really testing true English ability. So they're paraphrasing. It means they're using synonyms, grammar, and other techniques to paraphrase this. So limitations of dollarization. You could say that, for example, the shortcoming of using the dollar. Okay, limitation, another way to say a limitation is a shortcoming. So the threshold or the inability of the dollar in certain situations. Okay, so the shortcoming of using the dollar. Benefits and drawbacks of dollarization. So that could be advantages and disadvantages of using the dollar. Okay, so that could be another one. Sammy says maybe controlling dollarization. Mohit says this could be maybe disadvantages of converting the currency into the dollar. That's good. The end of the Bretton Woods system. So the Bretton Woods system is finished. Benefits and examples of dollarization. So the advantages and specific cases of using the dollar. Okay, so you want to go through all of these. At home, do this on paper. Okay, so when you see a list of headings question and you're practicing your reading at home, members, then go through this and do it on paper. Use your thesaurus, which is a special kind of dictionary, to help you find synonyms, and that will also help you to learn vocabulary. Okay, so it's really, really good practice. Baccarat says we could use a bit of grammar here as well, and we could say use of the dollar at its limit. For the first one, I agree, Baccarat, that's useful. Okay, so again, list of headings, go through each of them and paraphrase. All right, so a currency loses its value spectacularly. So a form of money loses its worth in an incredible way. Transition to fiat currencies, so changing to modern day forms of money. Dollarization, American and Australian dollars, so using the US or the Australian dollar. Should countries dollarize? It depends. So is it a good idea for countries to adopt the dollar? It depends on variables. So it's defining the topic. Okay, so explaining this idea, lowering inflation and spurring investment. So improving the value of money and building business. Okay. Lacking confidence is a problem. So not having enough belief is a challenge. Okay, so in the actual IELTS exam, you want to do what I just did, where you're paraphrasing in your head as much as possible. Okay, all right. So we're going to come back to these list of headings questions as we read the passage, but that's good for now. Okay, we still have some more questions to take a look at and get a little bit more of an idea for this passage. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G paragraphs, and then we have a true, false, not given question set. Okay. All right. True, false, not given. We do not read these questions before the passage. Again, in the computer-based exam, that's super simple because they're drop down, so you don't even have to worry about them. Okay. So in the paper-based, just ignore them. Just don't look at them. They can be very confusing to read before the passage. We have no idea what's there, what's not there, what's false, what's not given. And then here we have multiple choice. Okay. For multiple choice questions, yeah, Buckrat says skip. That's really good. So for multiple choice questions, we only read the question. We do not read the responses because there's a lot of extra and false information here that's useless to us. So we really are only interested in the question because we're going to be reading for the answer. Okay. So this is again time efficiency. So skimming, scanning, searching for answers is very inefficient when you think about it. Logically, efficiently, you look at information that's in the passage. So number 13, which of the following phrases best describes the main aim of reading passage 3? Now, when you read a question like this, okay, you know that the only way that you'll be able to solve this is if you read the passage, okay? You can't skim or scan for the main idea of the reading passage. In order to get the main idea of a reading passage, you have to read the whole passage, okay? So there's absolutely no reason to read these responses because the answer will come from your understanding of the passage. You will understand the main goal of the passage. Okay. All right, and that's it. So that we just have that one multiple choice question as the last little bit there. Okay. So now at this point we can go back and read the passage. Let me shrink it a little bit here. We'll center it up. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this, everyone. So let's read this together, and then we'll answer the questions, okay? Here we go. So from the top, please don't just listen to me, so also read, okay? This is a reading class. And this speed that we are reading is absolutely okay for the IELTS for a band 9. So here we go. Currency substitution, also known as dollarization, occurs when a country uses another country's currency in place of its own. In partial currency substitution, a country will use another currency alongside its own, while in full dollarization, the currency uses only the other currency. Though the phenomenon is sometimes referred to as dollarization in reference to the United States dollar, the target currency can be any country's currency. Countries around the world have also dollarized with the euro, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, South African rand, and the Swiss franc. While there are many benefits to dollarization, there are also significant drawbacks as well. Okay. So what is this paragraph about? Okay, when you have a list of headings question, you want to solve each of them after you finish a paragraph. So in this case, you want to ask yourself, what is this paragraph about? Okay, and you want to be concise and you want to be accurate. Okay, so here we want to ask, what is this paragraph about? And in this case, the introduction. Okay. So what is it about? Be concise. Shouldn't be more than one sentence. Okay, at most. Sammy says it's the currency substitution. So, okay. What is dollarization? Okay. Devansh, it's not about the examples of countries using the dollar. It's about currency substitution. So, a definition for currency, or let's just say an explanation. Yeah, so if somebody asked me, so if we were in a classroom together and I'm your classmate and You said, "Hey, Adrian, what do you think this is about?" After we read it, well, I'd say it's an explanation, or yeah, I wouldn't. It's not quite as detailed. I would say it's a definition. It's really a definition, an introduction to currency substitution, or also known as dollarization. Okay, sure. So now what we want to do, okay, in the next step is to go back, look at the list of headings, and find the closest match. Okay. All right. It's very important that you think about this first on your own, and then you look for the answer. One of the big mistakes that many students make is they look at the list of headings before they think about what the paragraph is about. So here we have our list of headings. Limitations of dollarization, the benefits and drawbacks of dollarization, the end of the Bretton Woods system, benefits and examples of dollarization, a currency loses its value spectacularly, transition to fiat currencies, dollarization, American and Australian dollars, should countries dollarize, it depends, defining the topic, lowering inflation and spurring investment, lacking confidence is a problem. Which one do you think, which of these is the closest to my answer, a definition of currency substitution, also known as dollarization? So which of these is the best answer that matches closest to my own answer? So Sammy, Carolina, Nikhil, Bakrat, Arda, all say it's about defining the topic. Very good. Yeah, and that is the correct answer. So in this case, IX is the right answer. We're defining the topic here. The topic is currency substitution. Now, I'm sure many of you realized, hopefully, that if you're not taking these correct steps or this strategy for list of headings, it would be easy to make some mistakes, like choosing number 2, for example, benefits and drawbacks, or benefits and examples, maybe, of dollarization. Okay, so can everybody see that? Can you all see how, if you're not actually thinking about what is this paragraph about before you choose the right answer, it's really simple to make a mistake, because the IELTS examiners put some choices in there that are kind of like a close pick, but not quite right. Okay? And you see that in the IELTS exam. So when you practice these, you see that, oh yeah, that one would have been close, but thankfully, I actually thought about the answer myself first, and so I didn't pick the wrong answer. Right? Yeah, Carolina says sure. Sammy says yep. Okay, good. So we keep going the same. So for paragraph A, we put in IX and we get it right, and then we move on. Okay? All right, now don't cross out answers. I don't think that's a good idea, because you never know. One of them might be better for another paragraph, so don't cross them out. Okay? Let's continue on. So here we go, paragraph B. The story of currency substitution begins with the end of the Bretton Woods Agreement, which established the rules for financial relations between major nations during and following the Second World War. The agreement, which was based on the convertibility of the US dollar to gold, collapsed in 1971 when the United States unilaterally terminated the relationship between its currency and gold. During the intervening years, currencies were tied to the price of gold and therefore to each other. After 1971, currencies previously tied to the value of gold became fiat currencies, currencies which ceased being valuable in relation to something external, gold, and relied on public confidence in order to retain value. This is the origin of the need for currency substitution in certain cases. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? So to the best of your knowledge, what is this paragraph about? Okay, what do you think? All right, how would you summarize this paragraph? In your own words, just do your best. So I want to give you a chance to summarize this paragraph. If you didn't understand everything, that's okay. You should be able to figure out the main idea of each paragraph without understanding every word or every sentence. Okay, Sammy says it's about the beginnings of currency substitution. Yes, I think that's half of it, Sammy. Deepika says it's the origin of currency substitution. I think that's a bit better answer, Deepika. It's where currency substitution originates from. Mohit says it's the history of currency substitution. Yeah, okay, sure. Let's go with those. Carolina agrees with that, history of currency substitution. So which of these do you think is the closest to that? So limitations of dollarization, benefits and drawbacks of dollarization, the end of the Bretton Woods system, benefits and examples of dollarization, a currency loses its value spectacularly, transition to fiat currencies, dollarization, American and Australian dollars. Should countries dollarize? It depends, defining the topic. Which one do you think matches closest to the origin of currency substitution? I think there's one that's there, and again, you have to think outside the box, but there is one that matches what you're talking about. Paulo is kind of hinting. Paulo Reese says it's the origin of the fiat currencies. Okay. Sammy says it's 3. Deepika says it's 6. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of variance here. Baccarat agrees that it's 6. Art agrees that it's 6. Yeah, I agree that it's 6. It's transition to fiat currencies. Transition to fiat currencies is equal to the origin of currency substitution. Okay, so that also matches, Paulo, with your idea, right? The origin of the fiat system. So the currency substitution origin is the origin of that, because before that, your currency was simply equated to gold, the value of gold, right? So whatever gold is worth, your currency is equated to that value. But as soon as we transition to fiat currencies, we actually create the origin of currency substitution. So that makes sense. And I'm really happy that many of you got that. That's fantastic. Okay, it's really good. I can definitely see that many students who are practicing this regularly, our members, are doing a great job of picking out the right answers now. So let's keep going. Here we go with C. Okay, read with me. When you think about it, the paper that money is printed on is worthless. It cannot be converted into gold, and it is not guaranteed to be converted into anything other than the banknote's denomination. This is the result of the end of the Bretton Woods system. While many countries have succeeded financially and monetarily since 1971, others have not. For example, fiat currency relies on the confidence of the people being issued the currency. When people lose confidence in the currency, disaster is at hand. This was the case for Zimbabwe from 2007 to 2009 and beyond. The people of Zimbabwe lost confidence in their fiat currency, and its value bottomed out in spectacular fashion. People are generally accustomed to single-digit inflation, the loss in value of a currency. But Zimbabwe's inflation was off the charts, 80 billion pieces in a single month. At the peak of Zimbabwe's problem, $1 billion Zimbabwean dollars were reduced in value to a single dollar in just 1 month. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? Okay, so I would say that this paragraph is about one of the deficits of the fiat system and a spectacular example of the failure of the fiat system. So that's what I would say, okay? It's obviously got a lot of information all the way from here to here. That's all of this here, which is focusing on this example of the Zimbabwean dollar as an example of a currency, a fiat currency that fails, okay? And the beginning here is simply stating that there can be a huge negative to the fiat system, right? Welcome, Anita, to our group of members. All right, so let's see which of these matches the closest, okay? So Devon says it's some benefits and an example of drawbacks. So which one do you think matches the closest here? Which of these? Limitations of dollarization, benefits and drawbacks. The end of the Bretton Woods system, benefits and examples of dollarization. A currency loses its value spectacularly. Transitions to fiat currencies, dollarization, American Australian dollars. Should countries dollarize? It depends. Defining the topic. Which one do you think is the best answer? Devon says it's number 2. I don't know about that, Devon. Just think about what this paragraph is mostly about. Okay? Mohit and Nick, he'll say, it's really mostly about a currency losing its value spectacularly. I agree. Okay? Yeah, Deepika, you can use that phrase in your essays. So number 5 is the correct answer. This paragraph focuses mostly on the Zimbabwean dollar and how it loses its value spectacularly. So number 5 is correct here, okay, for paragraph C. So you put Roman numeral 5 into your answer sheet and you will get it correct, okay? All right, let's keep going. All right, here we go. So let's keep reading. For Zimbabwe, the choice to dollarize was clear. They gave up their own currency, which its own people had decided was worthless, in favor of the US dollar, which the people had confidence in. This configuration lasted for a decade until 2019, when the new president, Emerson Mnangagwa, decided it was worth trying a national currency again. This currency, as of March 2020, is also failing, seeing inflation rates of 500%. While short of the catastrophic rates previously seen, it is enough to highlight the manifest difficulty in managing a currency without the confidence of the public. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? So what is this paragraph about? Okay. How would you... Thank you, Anita. I'm glad that you find it interesting. And Anita, that's what you want to do on the IELTS, is you want to find the topics interesting. You will do better. Okay. So Arda says Zimbabwe choosing the dollar. Okay, yeah, absolutely, Arda. I would agree. That's a good way to summarize it. So this is about a country choosing to dollarize, so adopting the currency of another country, in this case, the US dollar, right? Yeah, Andre, very good. Andre says, let's keep it really simple. This paragraph is simply about dollarization. So Zimbabwe dollarizing. Okay, great. Very nice. Andre, I love the simplicity. It's beautiful. Okay. And think about why they're dollarizing. Okay. All right. So which one of these is the closest match? So limitations of dollarization, benefits, drawbacks, the end of the Bretton Woods system, benefits and examples, currency losing its value, transition to fiat, dollarization, American and Australian dollars, should countries dollarize, it depends, defining the topic, lowering inflation and spurring investment, lacking confidence is a problem. Which one of these is closest match to dollarization? It's a little bit of a tricky one, but it's there. Arda says maybe XI. The Pika says XI, or Shika says XI. Very good, students. Give yourselves a pat on the back. That was a challenging one, but you all got it right. Definitely. Yeah. So lacking confidence is a problem. Very good. Why? Because that is dollarization. Okay. It's very nicely hidden by the examiners here, but it's there. So lacking confidence is a problem equals dollarization. That's what creates dollarization. So if you lack confidence in your currency, what do? You dollarize, right? So this equals dollarization. Very tricky, but indeed that's the definition of it, right? So again, what do? If you lack confidence, you dollarize, right? So lacking confidence is a problem equals dollarization. Hello, Forever Cricket. Love the name. All right. So let's keep going. Okay, clearly one of the benefits of currency substitution is the confidence given to the country's people in their monetary system, which gives great economic and social benefits. For countries with a citizenry that lacks confidence in the nation's currency, dollarization is a very positive alternative. In addition to Zimbabwe, countries that fall into this category are El Salvador and Ecuador that use US dollar. Dollarization is also a preferable alternative to a national currency in the case of small nations which lack the governmental infrastructure to administer a national currency. Countries in this situation include Palau and Timor-Leste, which use the US dollar, Kiribati, Nauru, and Tuvalu, Australian dollar. Andorra and Kosovo use the euro, and Liechtenstein, the Swiss franc. Okay, so here, what is this paragraph about? I think this one's very, very clear. For this paragraph in the real IELTS exam, if you had this passage, you should be super fast. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? It's very, very clear here. Carolina, very good, absolutely. It's the benefits and examples of using the dollar. Yeah. Arda says countries that choose dollarization, the Australian or US. Yeah. Very good, Nick Hill. So benefits and examples. Yeah, so if the country is really small, if it doesn't have governmental structure, or if it has a failing economy, then to boost or stimulate economy, dollarization makes sense. So which one of these fits? This should be really nice and fast. I'm not going to read them all again because you know them now, and I think that you can figure this one out without too much help from me at all. Carolina says it's number 4. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So it is benefits and examples of Dollarization. Andre, be very careful. So, Andre, you said dollarization, American Australian dollars, but remember that there's also the EU, right? So it says the examples, I think, for Kosovo and another country that use the EU, the euro dollar, right? So that's not listed here. So this is the better answer. Okay. All right. So 4. So you put IV into your answer sheet and then you move on. Be careful with that, students. Always choose the best answer. It's the benefits and examples of dollarization. Okay. And that example of the euro should kind of give you that feeling that something's not right with number 7. Okay. All right, Andre. Awesome. Okay. So F, let's do this. Here we go. While currency substitution can create consistency through lower inflation and spur investment through a more stable financial environment, it also has drawbacks. For example, countries who officially use foreign currency cannot control their monetary policy and therefore have less control over their economies. For example, when the United Kingdom wants to lower their base interest rate in order to achieve a particular economic outcome, they can do this. So can other countries with national currencies. Conversely, countries using foreign currencies are at the mercy of foreign economic forces. For instance, the United States does not take into account Zimbabwe or Ecuador's interests when managing the United States dollar. This can result in conflicting economic interests and damage to the foreign currency's user. The other main negative associated with not printing money is that the country cannot take advantage of what is called seigniorage, the profit of a country makes by printing its own currency. This is why Zimbabwe, even after the debacle of the late 2000s, attempted one more time to print their own money. 10 years later, printing money literally makes money for the printer. Okay? So what is this paragraph about? Again, you should be very quick and clear to answer this one. So this paragraph, what is it about? It's very, very clear here. And again, you don't have to understand all of the paragraph. Carolina says drawbacks of using the dollar. Careful, Carolina, it's not dollar, it's drawbacks of dollarization, right? Because drawbacks of using the dollar for the United States doesn't exist, right? Because it's their currency. So drawbacks of using the dollar if it's not the local currency, right, Carolina? So it's drawbacks of dollarization, not drawbacks of using the dollar. You have to be careful because the examiners might put that kind of answer in there and that would be wrong. Okay, so careful. Deepika, yeah, drawbacks of dollarization. Paulo says disadvantages of dollarization. Very good. So nice and fast. Okay. So which one of these is the closest match to drawbacks of dollarization? Okay. There's one here that matches perfectly. Arda says very quickly, it's number 1. It's the limitations of dollarization. Deepika agrees. Bakrat says maybe number 2. Bakrat, there's absolutely nothing about the benefits. Okay, so number 1 is correct. It's the limitations of dollarization. This paragraph very clearly says that, hey, if you dollarize, you don't control your own currency. You can't make more money by printing it, right? Okay, doesn't include benefits. That's right, Arda. So I is the correct answer. Okay, we have one more paragraph to go. Let's do this. All right. Overall, whether a country should have its own currency depends on the social and economic position of the individual country. National currencies require the confidence of the people. And if this is lacking, no level of seigniorage will make up for the inflation that results. But for countries like the United States, a national currency is profitable and also part of its identity. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? Okay, so how would you summarize the conclusion in a simple way? What is that one about? Yeah, okay, Bakrad, good. So make sure never to pick a list of heading that has information which is not in the paragraph, right? So it's very, very clever. I'm happy you got that. Okay, so Deepika says this is about should countries dollarize? It depends. So yeah, so another way to say that, Deepika, is dollarization may or may not be the right choice, right? Rashika says it's the validation of one's own currency. Yeah, I guess that's another way to say it. Okay. Mohit's saying it's the importance to have your own currency. I don't know if it actually says that. I think, Mohit, you're maybe reading a little bit too much into it. So Paulo says it's when it's a good idea for a country to have its own currency. Yeah. Sammy says dollarization requires the confidence of the people, which is the factor for its dependence. Sure. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So having your own dollar or dollarizing, whether that's a good idea or not, it depends. So which one of these do you think is the best match? So it depends on the situation if dollarization is the right choice. Which one of these is the best match? Carolina says, well, Roman numeral 8, should countries dollarize? It depends. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I agree. So should countries dollarize? Yeah, it depends, okay? If your country has the infrastructure, it has the confidence of the people in the money, then yeah, sure. If it doesn't, then probably not a good idea, okay? So this is the right answer, okay? All right, so students, fantastic. That's how you do list of headings. Unfortunately, we only have a couple minutes left in this class, so I don't want to blast through the true, false, not given questions. I'll let you solve these on your own, and then we'll post the answers in Discord. Okay, remember, members, that you have that Discord community where you can practice your IELTS, and Carolina's really good at posting the answers there as well. So I'll post answers to this true, false, not given. So here are the questions. Try these on your own, okay? Here's that last multiple choice question. Again, this is very similar to list of headings. You have to think about the answer first on your own and then choose the right one. Okay, so for these last few questions, we'll put the answers into your Discord. If some of you are watching this and you're not a member, you can send me an email with your answers and I'll send you back the answer key. Members, you can do that as well, okay? All right, welcome to our newest members. So we've got a couple of them who have joined up. That's great. Make sure to send us an email so you can get your perks, okay? Deepika, 2007 to 2009 and beyond means that it's specifically between those 3 years, so 7, 8, 9, but also after those years it was experienced as well, okay? The reason, Deepika, that it says 2007 to 2009 is because that was the majority. So the 2007 to 2009 was like the main era, okay? All right, everyone. So that's it for now, but I am back in 30 minutes with listening. Part 1 and Part 2. Again, remember on Sunday, my IELTS Band 9 journey. So come with me on that amazing adventure. Great work, everyone. Thank you, members. We'll see you in 30 minutes for some listening. I'm Adrian signing out for now. See you soon. Bye.